Hi students, today in this session we are going to discuss some numericals on estimations. This topic is very important topic. This is from GOC of class 11. So mostly one or two questions are coming in your objective examinations from this topic. After watching this video, you can solve any problem based upon this estimation of elements. So before going to that, if you are first time to my channel, please subscribe my channel and tap the bell icon. Now let us move to our topic, that is estimation of these elements. So in this video we are going to discuss about the estimations of carbon, hydrogen, estimation of halogens, sulfur, phosphorus, oxygen, nitrogen. So here the estimation of carbon and hydrogen are estimated by using this Liebig's method, whereas halogen, sulfur and phosphorus are estimated by Carrier's method, and oxygen is estimated by indirect method, whereas the nitrogen is estimated by Dumas method and Geldahl's method. So now let us move to the estimation of first element, that is carbon. Estimation of carbon. So now we have to estimate the element carbon which is present in the given organic compound. So we have some amount of organic compound. In that organic compound, the element carbon is there. Along with carbon, so many elements are there like hydrogen and phosphorus and sulfur. All these elements are there. So this Liebig's method is suitable only for the estimation of compounds containing carbon and hydrogen only. If the compound contains carbon and hydrogen only, then only we can apply this Liebig's method. Okay. Now we have to consider huge amount of organic compound. In that organic compound, we have to estimate the elemental carbon. So in order to estimate this one, we have to convert this elemental carbon into suitable form. That means, suppose if you consider m grams of organic compound is there, here a huge amount of organic compound is there. This is our organic compound. M grams of organic compound is there. So from this organic compound, we have to convert the elemental carbon into suitable form. Here we are supposed to oxidize this carbon by using some cupric oxide, CuO. By using cupric oxide, we have to oxidize the element carbon into carbon dioxide. Okay. So that means here we are taking m grams of organic compound and it is oxidized by using cupric oxide. So the element carbon which is present inside this organic compound can be oxidized to carbon dioxide gas. So let m1 grams of carbon dioxide will be produced. So now here m1 grams of carbon dioxide is produced. In that m1 grams of carbon dioxide, we have to estimate the amount of carbon present here. Okay. So in order to estimate the amount of carbon here, now let us consider what is the molar mass of carbon dioxide here, 44. So that means 44 grams of carbon dioxide gas consists of how much amount of carbon? So here the amount of carbon is 12 grams only. Okay, clear? 44 grams of carbon dioxide gas consists of 12 grams of carbon. 12 grams of carbon. So now we have to consider m1 grams of carbon dioxide consists of how much carbon? That is m1 grams of carbon dioxide gas consists of how much amount of carbon? Okay. So therefore amount of carbon in m1 grams CO2 is equal to, it can be obtained by cross multiplication, m1 into 12 by 44. Okay, m1 into 12 by 44. Okay, so this is the amount of carbon present in m1 grams of carbon dioxide gas. So this m1 grams of carbon dioxide is obtained from m grams of organic compound. That means this m grams of organic compound consists of how much carbon? This much carbon. Okay, clear? M grams of organic compound consists of this much carbon. Now we have to calculate the percentage of carbon. That means 100 grams of organic compound consists of how much? Okay, so here m grams of organic compound consists of how much carbon? m1 into 12 by 44. Then for 100 grams of organic compound consists of how much? So for 100 we are calculating for 100 means it is nothing but percentage. So therefore the percentage of carbon is equal to, again it can be obtained by cross multiplication, this by m, that means m1 into 12 by 44 into 100 whole by m. Whole by m means into 1 by m. So it can be converted into suitable form, that is m1 by m into 12 by 44 into 100. So this is percentage of carbon. So expression for percentage of carbon. Okay. So here m1 means mass of carbon dioxide gas, m means mass of organic compound. So now it can be written as, so the percentage of carbon is equal to 12 means what is here? 12 molar mass of carbon, that is atomic mass of carbon. 44 means molar mass of carbon dioxide gas. So like this we have to write 12 by 44 into m1 means mass of carbon dioxide divided by mass of organic compound into 100. So we can simply write like this. So this is about percentage of carbon. So in the same way all the elements are converted into suitable form. So here carbon is converted into carbon dioxide. If you are supposed to estimate hydrogen, hydrogen should be converted into suitable form, that is hydrogen is converted into H2O. Okay. So here you should convert hydrogen into H2O by again treating with cupric oxide. So suppose hydrogen is converted into H2O, so same calculation prolongs, that means here hydrogen is converted into H2O. H2O means H2O molar mass is 18, that's why 18 grams of H2O contains how many grams of hydrogen? 18 grams of H2O consists of how many grams of hydrogen? 2 grams. Okay. Then m1 grams of H2O consists of how much? Means 2 into m1 by 44, sorry 18. So that means the percentage of hydrogen will become like this, 2 by 18 into, here molar mass of, here it is converted into carbon dioxide. In case of hydrogen it can be converted into water. So that is mass of water by mass of organic compound, into 100. So in this way you can easily solve any problem based upon these estimations by the simple logic. So we have to consider the element is converted into which form. So here hydrogen is converted into water, so that's why we are considering molar mass of water here. So molar mass means H2O, here it is converted into H2O, that means here there are 2 hydrogens, so that's why you have to consider 2 here. Okay, 2 by molar mass is 18, so 2 by 18 into here m1 by m. So m1 by m is always common, this fraction is always common, m1 by m into 100 is always common, but this fraction will be changed for element to element. Okay, clear? So now let us have a look on estimations of all these elements. So how, first we have to know how it will convert into suitable form. Okay, so let us check all this. So here this carbon is converted into carbon dioxide and hydrogen is converted into water. So suppose you are supposed to estimate halogens, this halogen should be converted into silver halide by treating with silver nitrate, AgNO3. Okay, so the organic compound is treated with silver nitrate, then it converts into suitable silver halide. Suppose if it is chlorine, then it is treated with silver nitrate, it produces silver chloride. Again it is treated with silver nitrate to produce silver bromide. Suppose iodine is there, it is treated with silver nitrate to produce silver iodide. So here we are adding this compound silver nitrate. Here sulfur is there, so sulfur should be converted into barium sulfate, so that's why we have to add some barium chloride. Here we are adding barium chloride, BaCl2. So by adding BaCl2, it can be converted into barium sulfate. Here phosphorus is there. So phosphorus is converted into magnesium pyrophosphate. This is magnesium pyrophosphate. So by adding with some magnesium mixture, that is called magnesium hydroxide, magnesium sulfate and magnesium chloride. That is by adding magnesium mixture. So magnesium mixture is nothing but mixture of ammonium chloride, ammonium hydroxide and magnesium salts like magnesium chloride and magnesium or sulfate. Okay, and next one, this is phosphorus can be estimated by converting into ammonium phosphomolybdate by treating with ammonium molybdate. By treating with ammonium molybdate, we can convert into ammonium phosphomolybdate. This is ammonium phosphomolybdate. Okay, so in this way we are converting the given element into its required form. So now we have to estimate all these elements. So the same formula is adopted. So but you have to know all the atomic masses and molar masses. If you know molar masses and atomic masses, you don't bother about the process. You just remember the formula by using this small trick. Okay. So what is the formula here? So the percentage of carbon is equal to, so first we have to consider this one. So here I am giving you a small trick to remember the formula. So this is carbon dioxide and this is carbon. So now we have to write first the atomic mass of this one. So that is 12 by molar mass of this one 44 into the mass of smaller element, that is mass of carbon dioxide, that is M1. We are considered that M1. So in the here we are considering M1. So M grams of organic compound is converted into M1 grams of any compound, that is carbon dioxide. So all these are M1 grams. Okay, all these are M1 grams. So that's why M1 by M. So we have to write M1 by M. M1 is the mass of these compounds. Small m is the mass of organic compound. So into 100. So in this way you can easily calculate this one. Again, percentage of hydrogen is equal to, so percentage of hydrogen, it consists of two hydrogens. It converted into two hydrogen compound, that is H2O. So here 2 by 18 into M1 by M into 100. Next, percentage of halogen X is equal to, so we have to write first this one, atomic weight of X by molar mass of AgX, molar mass of AgX into M1 by M into 100. So here X means if you take any halogen like chlorine, so that is percentage of chlorine. So percentage of chlorine equal to atomic weight of chlorine. Atomic weight of chlorine is 35.5 here. So 35.5 by molar mass of AgCl. If you know Ag 108, Cl 35.5, by adding these two we can get 143.5. AgCl 143.5 into M1 by M into 100. Okay. Next, percentage of bromine is equal to, so first we have to write atomic mass of bromine 80 by molar mass of silver bromide. It can be converted into silver bromide. So that is 188 into M1 by M into 100. Percentage of iodine. So now atomic weight of iodine 127. So 127 by silver iodide 235 into M1 by M into 100. And next, percentage of sulfur. So sulfur atomic weight is 32. 32 by molar mass of barium sulfate. Barium sulfate is 233 into M1 by M into 100. And again, percentage of phosphorus. So here phosphorus atomic weight is, here phosphorus is converted into two phosphorus compound, that is here two elemental phosphorus are there. So that's why we have to consider two phosphorus. That means the atomic mass will become 2 into 31, that is 62. Okay, clear? So here also we are considering hydrogen is converted into H2O. That means 1 mole of here 1 mole of hydrogen atom or 1 mole of hydrogen element is converted into H2. So here also phosphorus is converted into P2. So we have to consider 2 times the atomic masses. So 62 by, it can be converted into magnesium pyrophosphate. So magnesium pyrophosphate, it has 222 into m1 by m into 100. And again phosphorus in this method, another method, by treating with ammonium phosphomolybdate, that is it converted into ammonium phosphomolybdate by treating with ammonium molybdate. So here phosphorus weight 31, phosphorus 31 by molar mass of this compound is 1877. You have to remember this one. So mostly you have to remember these two only. You can simply calculate this one by knowing the atomic masses. The molar masses can be calculated easily, but you have to remember these two. So this is large compounds, that's why you should not calculate, the time will be waste. So that's why you have to remember these two. Okay, by using this simple formula or by remembering only one formula, you can easily solve any problem based upon these estimations. Okay, so this is the most fundamental formula. So by using this simple formula, you can easily calculate any one. So in examination, he is asking any direct question also. So which of the following method is suitable for the estimation of halogens, like Carrier method? So which of the following method is suitable for the estimation of oxygen or nitrogen? Here oxygen is also there. So in order to estimate the oxygen, there is indirect method, that is because, so if you calculate all the percentages, so the total percentage should be equal to 100. If it is less than 100, so the remaining percentage will be the percentage of oxygen only. So in this way you can calculate the percentage of oxygen, or also you can calculate the percentage of oxygen by converting again into carbon dioxide. Suppose if if oxygen is there, it can be converted into carbon dioxide. So the percentage of oxygen, it can be written as oxygen atomic weight is 16 by, it can be converted into 44 into, so here 2 oxygens are there, that is 32. 2 oxygens are there, so that's why we have to consider 32 by 44 into m1 by m into 100. Okay, so in this way you can easily calculate the percentage of oxygen also, but this can be calculated as an indirect method also. Okay, so here there are two, one that is estimation of nitrogen is there, that is Jomas method and Gelder's method. We can explain these two in the next video. So now let us have a look on some numericals based upon these estimations. Okay, so the first one, the 0.2 grams of organic compound on complete combustion produces 0.44 grams of carbon dioxide. So then the percentage of carbon in it is. So here, so what is he asked to calculate the percentage of carbon. So what is the formula? Carbon percentage is equal to carbon 12 by 44 into m1 by m into 100. So here 12 divided by 44 into, here m1 means mass of carbon dioxide. So here the mass of carbon dioxide is 0.44. 0.44 divided by the mass of organic compound 0.2. M is the mass of organic compound, that is 0.2 into 100. So by simplifying this, you can get the answer, that is 60. Okay, so in this way you can calculate easily. Okay, second problem. So 0.765 grams of organic compound on combustion gave 0.535 grams of carbon dioxide and 0.138 grams of H2O. Then the ratio of percentages of carbon and hydrogen is. So here he is asking to estimate the percentages of both carbon and hydrogen. So now we have to consider the percentage of carbon and hydrogen. Then he asked to calculate the percentage. Okay, the weight of organic compound is this much. So weight of organic compound means that is m. Here it is m. And the weight of carbon dioxide, this is m1. And this is m1 in first case, it is m1 in second case. So now we have to check, we have to calculate the ratios of these two. So let us have a look. So here first one, the percentage of, he is asking percentage of carbon. So percentage of carbon is equal to, that is carbon means 12 by 44 into m1 by m into 100. So that is 12 by 44 into, here m1 means we are considering carbon means we have to take carbon dioxide weight, that is 0.535 divided by m means 0.765, 0.765 grams into 100. So by simplifying this one, we get around, this is 642 by 33.66. so you can get, upon simplification you can get nearly 19.07. okay. So this is percentage of carbon. And now let us take the percentage of hydrogen. Percentage of hydrogen is equal to formula 2 by 18 into m1 by m into 100. So that is 2 by 18 into, here m1 means m1 0.138 is 0.138 divided by and 0.765 into 100. So that is, by simplifying this one you get 27.6 by 13.77. so simply we can get 2.0. So then what is the ratio here? So ratio of percentage of carbon and percentage of hydrogen is equal to 19:2. So this is the answer. So 19:2 means option A. okay. And next one, the percentage of sulfur in an organic compound whose 0.32 grams produces 0.233 grams of barium sulfate. So here he asked to calculate the percentage of sulfur, and what is m1 here and what is m1 means the mass of the compound, that is the compound is here barium sulfate, the organic compound is this one. So whose 0.32 grams of organic compound, this is organic compound, so that means m produces this one m1. So here what is the formula? Percentage of sulfur is equal to, so in case of sulfur weight is 32, atomic mass 32 by barium sulfate is 233 into m1. Here m1 means here barium sulfate, that is 0.233 divided by 0.32 into 100. So by simplification you get here the answer is 10. okay. So 10 means here second option. Next, so 2.79 grams of an organic compound when heated in carrier's tube with concentrated HNO3 and H3PO4 is converted into magnesium ammonium phosphate precipitate. On heating gave 1.332 grams of magnesium pyrophosphate. Here magnesium pyrophosphate is obtained. The percentage of phosphorus in the compound is, so here it is the phosphorus. So here he is explaining about the process of extracting the precipitate. So here we are converting into magnesium pyrophosphate. You just remember this one only, so you don't bother about the process. So he is explaining the process only. So here what is our trick here? So here we have to suppose to calculate the percentage of phosphorus. So the percentage of phosphorus is equal to, so now we have to write the weight of atomic weight of phosphorus, that is phosphorus means 31 divided by, so molar mass of Mg2P2O7, that is magnesium pyrophosphate. So molar mass of magnesium pyrophosphate is 222. So it is easy to remember. So 222 into m1. So m1 by m into 100. okay. So here what is m1? m1 means mass of the magnesium pyrophosphate. So here the mass of magnesium phosphate is gave this much amount. So this will become m1 and organic compound is this one. So this is m. So that's why here we are writing 31 by 222 into m1 means 1.332 divided by 2.79 into 100. So here this easily you can identify which one is m and which one is m1 like this. So because here always you are getting less value in the numerator and large value in the denominator. Here also less value in the numerator and large value in the denominator. So in this way also you can get easily which one is m and which one is m1. So you don't confuse with these two. Okay, clear? So smaller value is present in the numerator and larger value is present in the denominator. So by this trick also you can easily remember without any confusion. So now let us calculate this one. So by calculating we get, that is we get nearly 13.33. So the answer is B. Okay, so you can calculate this, the answer will be 13.33. And next one, so 0.15 grams of an organic compound gave 0.12 grams of silver bromide by Carrier's method. So the percentage of bromine in the given compound is, so percentage of bromine is equal to atomic weight of bromine 80, and bromine can be converted into silver bromide. So what is the molar mass of silver bromide here? So molar mass of silver bromide is 188, that is 188 silver bromide. Silver is, atomic weight of silver is 108 and bromine is 80, so 188 into M1. What is M1 here? M1 means 0.12. So 0.12 divided by organic compound mass is M1, 0.15 into 100. So by calculating this we get, so you can check the calculation. So we get 34.04. So the answer is C. So in this way you can easily calculate any problem based upon these estimations. So mostly 1 or 2 questions come across in your examinations. Okay, thank you. Like this session, share the session and subscribe my channel. Thank you.